Okay, the teacup is charged. I am ready to blend. So, this is a basic scene. I'm just going to try and get title cards flowing in and out of the page, that kind of stuff. So first up, I'm going to get rid of the cube and set up my camera. Now I'm just going to zero the camera in on the center, and the easiest way is through the object properties. Tapping through all of that really quickly. Then I'm going to just raise it up, let's say 10's a good nice round number, so that I've got something to view as I drop these cards in there. Now, the normal way of dropping stuff in there gives an empty, the adding an object when we go image. Oh, so I've already got enabled. But adding a reference image or a background image is usually your only two options, and that doesn't enable for rendering. So normally what you have to do is you select the edit menu, and it might be under the Blender toggle in Mac, I'm not too sure because I don't use Mac. And down these list of preferences from the edit menu, you can go to add-ons. In the add-ons section, it's easiest just to type in image, because you've got this import-export option of importing images as planes. Ticking that enables it in Blender. There's a whole bunch of built-in add-ons, and if I get rid of this text, you can see a nice long list there. Some are already enabled as features of the software. Others I've added in, such as the 3D print toolbox, and the one I downloaded and added on so you can see my keyboard screen keys is the shortcut UVR. So I should actually enable that at this point so you can see what I'm doing, but there's not that much that's going to be happening in this video. So first up, I need some images. So the easiest way to do this is to go add images plane. Automatically what it does is says, oh, you want an image, where am I going to find it? And hopefully this will actually keep up to date and thinks a little spinny wheel of potential death, and we find it. Great. I'm just going to browse to where my documents are. So we have pictures. I have a bunch of random animation pictures, and of course you can't see much detail here. Second tab gives you a bit more information, but what we really need is the little squares there, which gives you reference images. So the first one I'm going to use is this lighting rig, and I'm just going to import that as a plane. Now, the first thing you'll notice is, oh, I can't see anything. That's because we've just got solid view rendering on for the viewport, which is that one there, the viewport shading. And if we go across to look dev, we might see something, but the render will definitely turn up. Yep, look dev gives that one, gives a bit more viewport shading, but rendered gives us the final look. So we're going to just work with that one. Tapping 0 on the keyboard, I'm going to look through the camera, and the camera's a bit far away. And I've got two options at this point. I can make the camera closer or make the image larger. And really it doesn't matter at this point. So since that's there, I might just drop that to 5 and see how that looks. Yeah, and then 0 on the keyboard. That's still a little too big, so let's just increase the size of that so it fills the screen. And you might think that this is a little problematical, and I'll be back in a sec. Right, back to it after that small minor audio glitch thanks to the cat. Now, the first image is set up, and when I add the next image, it's going to be added at precisely the same point. If we get two images overlapping, which I will do here, we end up with a bit of a hassle. So adding image as a plane, it'll give a bit of thinking time, and I'll select something else. Let's go that one. And you can see there, there's a bit of an overlap, a bit of a glitch going on. So the easiest way to deal with this is firstly to layer up images so they're just a little bit physically apart. So grabbing that in the Z direction, I'm going to -1 and just move it down. Makes it further away, which is a bit of a hassle. Actually, if I grab that in the Z direction and then move it up 0.9, it's only 0.1 below where I started, if you can do maths. So yeah, sorry, maths. And then we just look through the image and we go, oh yep, they're still overlapping, that kind of stuff. Now, this second image, I'm going to scale up and make sure it fits. And then insert, oh no, I don't want to insert a keyframe, I just want to grab it in the Y direction and slide it out of the way. So I'm going to then keyframe that one in with the location, rotation and scale, because I'm going to stuff around with these a fair bit. So this first image is my starting keyframe. I'm going to insert this one, again, everything. And I want to keep it in frame for, say, 20 frames, which is most of a second. 24 frames a second, most of a second, 20. So I'm just going to, actually no, I'll go all the way to 24. I use little arrows on the keyboard just to get it precise. Insert that as an everything, and then the next frame along, I'm going to grab that in the X direction and just snap it out of the way. This gives me an instant transition. So, boom, boom, time's going along, bang, gone. So we need to then move this other image into place. So this is currently sitting off here. Now I've got two options at this point. I can lock it into place so it stays in time at that point, and then on the next frame, and I'll just give me a sec while I deal with the cat. Right, the catastrophe of my cat has been dealt with, and she is now on her way. So as I was saying here, we've got a blank frame here, so I've actually put this in the wrong spot, but I'll show you how to adjust that in just a second. So this one, I want to move down, and I'm going to move it into position just the next frame. So it's basically a hard transition, or a snap transition. Now this might seem really complicated for what we're doing, but that's okay. We can deal with this. So this one, I actually want to slide one frame. I think that's one frame. If I look down the bottom, I should see a single frame. And then this one, snap that one that way. There. And the play, yep, perfect. Alright, so then I could jump to say frame 50, or which will be 48 if we're doing one for a 2 second gap, for each one to be displayed for 2 seconds, and then a transition. I'm not going to worry about the next image, but this one I want to be a little bit interesting. So I'll wind back to frame 48, or even say 46, so it's less than a second. Lock that into position, and then over the space of a few seconds, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this in the Z direction, and oops, I might have to flick around to the side. So grab Z direction and just slide it down, say 5, and then I'm going to lock in its location. So I know it's all, oops, other way. Grab Z direction -10, because it's 5 and 5, and then, and then keyframe it into that location. But I don't want it to just do that. I want it to disappear excitingly out into the distance. So, so I'm going to rotate it. Let's see, 360 degrees in a circle. Let's go 720 in the X direction. So that should lock in the rotation. If we just check it, does nothing. Wonderful. So we've moved it. I'm going to rotate Z direction. Come on, we'll just crank it around a couple of hundred times. That'll do. And then insert the rotation. And that starts spinning madly. And finally, we're going to scale to 0.01. Okay, oh, 0.1. So it's really, really small. And then I'll insert that as a scaling. So what we have is it just disappears in a massive spinny, kind of shrinky kind of thing. And then at this frame, I want it to something else to pop in. So at that point, I could add an image as a plane, select the next image, so on and so forth. And you get the process by this stage. The total sequence that I need done will be enough to cover 8 seconds. 4 particular images over 8 seconds. Creating the transitions between them as you choose. So I'm just going to scale this one up so that it does that, and then I'm going to grab it and start it off screen, so in the Y direction, and I'm going to have this one starting there, just with the location, and then over the space of a bunch of frames, 2 seconds, hopefully it's not too much, whoops, about 2 seconds, about there, grab Y direction, just scroll straight up, ending on this one. And then insert the location, and therefore we get done. So yeah, you can do 4 images. I've only done 3, but I'm showing you what to do. Finally, I'm just going to make the background black, and that's that little world icon there, and the color setting for that. That's now done, and as I've been talking with you guys so far, adjust the render settings so they're a small PAL TV set. Come on. But then you can drop the size. I'm going to drop the size for this one but you can render it at full size or larger if you choose. But these are only test versions, so this will be title cards. And then I can render it out. You don't need to see me render it, but you get the idea. And the last little bit I need to do is change it from that to the right file format. Done. And that's now ready to render. I'm going to just get this happening, and I'm going to cut the video there. Enjoy.